Good morning. My name is Barbara Fair. I'm part of Stop Solitary Connecticut. And I just want to say thank you to all the distinguished members of the committee who are here today and are granting us time to talk on a couple of bills. So I have 3 bills that I wanted to submit testimony to. The first one is SB 350, because the language does not include body scanners for incarcerated people who are subjectively and routinely, without probable cause, forced to endure degrading, dehumanizing, and humiliating cavity searches. It also does not have language in it that speaks to our correctional staff also being required to go through these body scanners. I'm also opposed to it because last year, when we came before the committee, the commissioner had to submit a report in 2024 in January saying his report on his research for body scanners. That was last year. Here we are another year, giving him another year to do this report. So I'm opposed to that. But most importantly is I'm opposed because it does not eliminate what originally we even started talking about body scanners, and that's to end the degrading, humiliating experiences that people had to go through many times inside the corrections. I think this arbitrary practice needs to be regulated and documented per PROTECT Act. I have yet to see the report that was due 2024 on searches conducted in 2023. In addition, I oppose the department being given an additional extension. I'm sorry, I seen that now. I oppose SB 358 because it denies some of the most isolated people within Department of Corrections from having the right to the same calls that the general population has. I think those people, because they are so isolated and outside of public scrutiny, are the main people who need to keep a connection to their families. And I also want to just remind you that the majority of the people that are held in these isolated conditions are people who look like me. We have done research for years, adult and youth population, and over 90% of the people that are in these most isolated conditions are black and brown. I think we need to take a good look, a truthful look at why is that happening? Why are people who look like me so much more threatening that they have to be isolated? Primarily, I oppose the fact that most likely, no, I already said it, sorry. I also oppose SB 362 and can't even surmise the intent of this proposal. It's undoubtedly going to be another subjective policy. I don't see any language within that fines correctional officers for misbehavior. It is simply yet another revenue stream for DOC, and I will wrap it up because I heard, I think it was Mr. Fishbein say, no, I think it was Mr. Kissel, whoever, said that the Department of Correction would not have this money. And in the language, it said Department of Correction will receive this money and put it in a welfare fund to benefit incarcerated people. I'd like to know how is that going to benefit incarcerated people. I see it as more revenue for an already over $500 million agency. And finally, I hadn't talked about the bail until I heard some of the language that was in here about bail. So I just want to specifically say that what's in the Constitution, that only people with capital crimes should be held without bail. I know for a fact someone, and I'm not going to put their name up there because I know they'll research and find out why he was in there and make that the point, as opposed to the point that that person was not in for capital murder, but yet he was denied bail and had to sit in jail for over 2 years now, waiting to even come to trial. Thank you.
Senator Kissel.
Thank you very much, Chairman Winfield. Ms. Fair, thank you so much for coming to testify. You're just an awesome advocate on behalf of the groups you represent and your views, and I appreciate seeing you here every session.
Thank you.
On the bills that you have a concern with, I guess I'm not surprised. A couple of them came from me, but I'm always happy to have further discussions.
I'm a little surprised, I have to say. I'm not going to let you slide with that. I'm a little surprised.
That's okay. That's okay. Again, the fines is just another tool in the toolbox to try to maintain order within the facilities. That was from touring McDougall Walker. That information was given to me as a suggestion because the folks that are in charge of maintaining order just felt like they ran out of options. We are tying their hands a little bit when it comes to restrictive housing, amount of time that inmates are allowed by law now to be outside their cells. And so, and that money is not going to go to the Department of Corrections. They're merely the administrator. And the welfare fund is for the benefit of the inmates, no one else. And it's for utilization for folks that don't have the wherewithal to use funds for commissary items. But if you feel that they have enough tools at their disposal, and this is just one more thing that you'd have to keep an eye on, I get it. Mm-hmm. As far as the scanning for folks going in for especially visitation, and again, touring the facilities up in my neck of the woods, and again, with the closure of Northern, now McDougall Walker has now defaulted as the end of the line for any inmates that act up. That's the place where they end up going. So it really houses the most incorrigible of the inmates in the system. And I don't think a lot of people are probably aware of this, but in the bucolic little town of Suffield where McDougall Walker is, that is the largest facility in all of New England. And so trying to maintain order there and throughout the system is important. And a lot of the contraband, whether it's a weapon, things that could be turned into a shank or something like that, or fentanyl and other drugs, sometimes visitors do sneak that in. But you're correct, as Representative Howard pointed out as well, we do have to keep an eye on corrections officers also. So my goal again with these proposals is again the health and safety not only of the corrections officers and the folks that work at these facilities, but also inmate on inmate violence, which happens all too often as well. But I appreciate your testimony. And again, I have an open door policy with everyone. If you ever want to sit down and discuss better ways of doing things, I'm more than happy to do that. But thank you for coming to testify. Thank you, Chairman Winfield.
Thank you.
Thank you. You said a lot, so can I just simply respond to one thing you kept, sorry, I don't know the order how I do it.
If you are responding to Senator Kissel and he will receive it, I will allow it.
Okay.
He will receive it. There
Okay.
you go.
Because we've had these conversations, and I know you listen, I just have to let you know I was triggered a few times when I kept hearing inmate, inmate, inmate. But I know you're trying to do better, so I'm just hoping that you'll practice saying incarcerated people, because I think that's part of what's wrong with the system is we forget that these are people, these are human beings, and inmate just seems to diminish their humanity. And I just want to say, as far as the welfare fund, the reason I'm opposed to it so much is because it's going to come from people who are already in prison. They're already being punished. We didn't take away solitary confinement, which I keep hearing that, you know, we tied the hands of, took away tools. No, we didn't take away the tools. What we said is at least 5 minutes out of those cages a day with some kind of programming. We said we cannot have people just after years of being, decades of being in cages, that we just open the door and just let everybody just roam around free. That's a recipe for disaster. So along with starting to get those incremental hours out of prison was supposed to be some kind of programming, something for them to do at the same time. No way to Protect Act take away the tools of solitary. People still going to solitary. They're because they're not obeying the rules. Protect Act says solitary is the last resort. I hear all the time people continuing to go into solitary, and they're going for more than 15 days, and they're not using other alternatives. So believe me, we have not tied the hands of anyone. 5 hours is nothing. Really, I want to go for 12, but I'm willing to compromise. Start with 5.
Senator Kissel.
Thank you. And just to respond a little bit to what you said, this is the first I've heard where inmate's a bad word, and that we have to use incarcerated person now.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we're all legislators. Should we be legislative people? I don't know, but I don't really necessarily associate inmate negatively. But if that's sort of the new mantra, I'll consider it. But I got to be honest, until today, I didn't know. So I guess it's an evolving world out there. But I get it. You want to make sure that we associate folks that are within our correction facilities as human beings, and I get the direction that you're going. So I appreciate that. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Kissel. Comment or question from members of the committee? Comment or question from members of the committee? If not, Ms. Fair, thank you again for joining us. I'm sure you'll be back. And unlike Senator Kissel, I'm not as happy because it means we're working on things I think we probably should have resolved along.
Yes.
But I'm always happy to see you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Can I just add one little thing around strip searching? Just one thing, just one sentence around strip searching.
If it's one sentence.
One sentence. This issue around strip searching, I worked on this over a decade ago in the city of New Haven because they were doing this strip searching on the streets, and they actually changed policy behind it. So it's not a new issue. Thank you.
Unfortunately, we know it's not a new issue. Thank you very much.